let the dogs out? Who 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 let the dogs out?
Hey everyone, it's Pup Twigs here from Orlando, Florida, and joining me today as my guest is Pup Retrow from Detroit, Michigan. How's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me on, Twigs. It's great to be here.
Love. Part of your neck of the woods is some of my old stomping ground for about 4 years, and so enjoyed it up there. Love the spring, love the summer. Not a fan of the winter.
Me either. We're just coming off of that, so thankfully it was pretty mild this year. We only
Good.
had like a couple of decent snowfalls, and then it just disappears, so it wasn't too bad.
Well, that's the best winters. So I always like to start off and learn a little bit of history behind the name and also about if there's any significance around the colors that you picked for your pup hood.
Well, my name comes from a passion I have for vintage and retro items of many different kinds. I've got like electronics, I've got collectibles, I've got some vintage clothing, things like that. So it just comes from me like perpetually wanting to live in like the 80s or 90s.
Awesome.
The hood color choice, green and purple, has been something that I've always had an affinity for ever since I was a little human.
Mm-hmm.
I have these really cool shoes that I remember that had like zippers on the sides.
Oh yeah.
Green and purple with like orange laces and stuff, and they're my favorite shoes ever. I always wish I could find like the name of what they were so I could find and track a pair down, but the colorways always stuck with me pretty much throughout my entire life.
Awesome. Well, how long have you been in the pup community so far?
I got my hood and jumped in paws first, so to speak, the end of last year. It was New Year's Eve when I got my hood.
Oh, nice.
So only about 5 months in.
So you're a fairly young pup and everything.
Yep.
Well, I always like to ask whether you've been in it just a short period of time or you've been in it for years. What you have seen in your time, what has been the easiest part of being in the community, and then what has been the most difficult part?
The easiest part of the community is, even though you don't have to have a hood, you don't have to have anything, there's a lot there that if you want it, you can. It's not that it's very restrictive and you have to know where to get things, or there's just not as many makers. Like, it's very open, so you can express yourself really well.
Mm-hmm.
Just in general, I like the idea that like things are vibrant and stuff like that. That's what I always go for, and like expressing myself. And that's been the one thing that I've liked the most about it, is just being able to like take the color that I have on the inside and really bring it out and like turn everything up, which is what I like to do.
Yeah. What about difficult? Have you run into anything that's been difficult in the 5-6 months you've been a pup?
Anxiety is something that I deal with, and it's the hood helps going out to like the bar or something like that, to where like I don't have to worry about like the human side of me facing judgment, things like that. But it's still difficult getting out and finding spaces that aren't labeled as pup spaces and trying to exist around others. As far as the community itself, just trying to be comfortable, getting the nerve to like walk up to people and do things, because there's a lot of receptive people, but you run into some bad apples online, so that can kind of give you a bad taste in your mouth if you're brand new. So you can't let that like discourage you, but it can be intimidating sometimes, for sure, especially if you see the pups that have big followings or, lots of, like media attention or just whatever, and you don't feel like you're that. Well, you don't have to be that, but some people think that's all that it is, so it's just kind of things like that.
All right. Well, if you could change something about our community, what do you think you would want to change?
Hmm. There's a lot of drama sometimes, and I just don't think that it's productive, like, for
Yeah.
anyone to take the time out of their day to start drama or attack people or do anything. Like, if there's an issue you guys have, there's a lot of stuff like that, then handle it privately if you can, unless it was something that happened in public where like everybody's going to see it and have an opinion. But
Yeah.
it's just complicated like that sometimes. So yeah, it's a dicey subject.
Yeah, and you're right there. It's everywhere, the drama. I just
Yeah.
stay away from it, keep it away from me as much as I can.
And you just see like people posting like things on X or on Facebook about like having issues with other pups, and I just don't feel like the community like needs that. And I feel like sometimes it's almost amplified. Like people can find more drama after becoming a pup than they would in their normal human life, and
Yeah.
that comes with like territories and like roles within like communities and stuff that people like kind of want to be a part of, but like there's like fighting or things like that. So
Hmm.
I myself am a stray, so I don't engage with like alpha beta like hierarchies or behaviors to just kind of avoid that kind of
And that's pretty cool because I'm a stray as well. I just don't. I'm happy where I am.
thing.
So what advice would you give somebody that's just now wanting to get into pup play in the pup community?
I would say do your research and find out what you like about it before you start getting anything. Um, like you don't need anything to get into a headspace for being a pet. You can do that and figure it out like yourself. You can figure out what you might like, what you might want to try.
Hmm.
But when it comes to if you are going to buy anything, personally, I adhere to a mantra of buy once, cry once.
Hmm.
So if you're a new pup and you're really, really wanting to get a hood, I would say go with the cheaper like Amazon hood route. But if you can just wait and save up, just get the hood that you think you might want to get after getting a bunch of other cheaper hoods, because you'll save a lot more money and you'll be able to do other things with that money than having four leftover hoods you can't do anything with that you'll never wear.
Yeah.
Unless you were to pass them on to someone, which is something that the community does, which is really awesome. But
Yes.
you can burn a lot of money getting into something like this, not really knowing what you want. So just don't rush getting into stuff like this. Like, if you can make your own things,
Hmm.
try that first. Some people get really crafty and they'll make like paper craft, like pup masks or something like that.
Yeah.
You can try a lot of different things to see what you feel like when you put the mask on, because it's not really until you do that it's complete.
Hmm.
Um, Doing it without one is always nice because then you don't have to have the restriction.
Yeah.
But the image of what this is, for me at least, is a bit of what helps. So
Agreed.
just
Agreed.
don't rush into things, but buy carefully and don't waste your money on incremental steps that you'll look back on being like, I really didn't need that stuff anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was me when I first started. I bought the Amazon hoods. I did a red and black one and a purple and black one. And I just on my 100th episode gave away my red and black one to a pup actually here in Florida. He was the one that answered both of my riddles correctly. And so
Nice.
he got it last week. So I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, it's always good for like hood resharing. I've got an old one that I'm gonna think about trying to do a giveaway for, just to give somebody an opportunity who doesn't maybe have the means to get one, but could enter and win one.
Yep, exactly. So tell me, what brings you the most joy out of pup play, and do you have any kind of toys that you like to play with?
The most that I get out of it is going to be just the self expression.
Hmm.
colors, like I said, is really important to me, and not necessarily the fashion aspect, but when like color and like my clothes kind of mix and they look really good together, it just makes me feel a lot more confident that like it's kind of like a suit of armor when everything's complete and I'm all matching, stuff like
Mhm.
that.
Okay.
I don't have any toys. I got to get some. Still trying to figure out what kind of toy like vibes with me. I look through a lot of the retailers and stuff, and I just don't know like what I want to start with. You know, like again, that's that whole like being careful with like what you're buying kind of thing.
And I'm the same way. I don't really have any toys that I play with. I just like being able to get into the pup persona and headspace, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, usually I'll just wear my hood while I'm doing whatever. If I'm playing video games or just watching a movie or
Yep.
cleaning at the house, you know, it's just that I'm retro.
Yeah.
That's enough for me, you know, like I don't have to always be engaging in further activity for pup play. Like just being me is enough.
Hmm. So, kind of on a serious note, what has being in the pup headspace done for your mental wellness?
Well, I went through a pretty hard breakup last year from a long-term relationship and going through a lot of things and then kind of discovering pup
Hmm.
kind of helped me mend a lot of like issues that I had like with confidence or with um just trying to make sure that I'm doing the right things. And I was like, and I was trying to overanalyze every bit of my old relationship and stuff. And I realized that like I just have to like get into a simple headspace, calm down,
Hmm.
not overthink about those kind of things. And then when I kind of saw people doing pup and that like it's more of an escapism kind of thing for some people, that was more alluring to me. So I was like, it really kind of helps that when I put my hood on, I stop thinking about all those old problems. And the more I do it, the more I can kind of release those old feelings and I don't have to worry about them so more. So
Well, so it
it's been,
sounds like it's done just about the same thing for everybody. It helps you. And that's always good to hear. I know it's not a cure for stuff like that, but it's great just to be able to put this on and say, you know what, adult is going to be gone for a little while, and I'm going to have this on.
yeah, that's 100%. It's a real nice like life break sometimes when things get rough.
Yeah.
Rough.
So what about hobbies? Do you like to do there in Detroit?
Well, I am a two-time entrepreneur, so I'm usually working on things. I make and sell, like I said, I got like a new clothing stuff that I'm starting up. My day job is I'm actually kind of in the horror slash Halloween field.
Really?
Yes, and I make and sell latex Michael Myers masks for a living online.
Oh,
So I'm very into like Halloween culture and other things like that from like doing years worth of mask making and other stuff. I've got one here I can show you.
yeah. Yes, please. We might have to talk more. Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I make these and like sell them on my Etsy shop. Then I've got a bunch. There's some more in these cabinets here. But
Well, yeah. And I was going to ask about that because I saw the Halloween, because Halloween is my favorite time of the year, my favorite holiday of the year. And I always have a huge house party for Halloween.
that's awesome.
And I thought, well, how is he attached to Halloween when I see that stuff behind you and stuff? So now I know.
Yeah, like these are the Halloween 3 Season of the Witch
Yes.
like pumpkins and the witch and skull, and then I've got the rest of these are filled with like Michael Myers masks. I've got one Captain Kirk that I have signed by William Shatner because that's where the original mask comes from.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be starting like some other like monster mask projects and stuff this year. But the pup like clothing side is like brand new. I just started this brand Acid Pup about a week ago.
And I've seen you online, and I was going to ask you, I know your t-shirts say Acid Pup, but do you interchange that with maybe pup names, or how does it go? What things do you sell?
Well, I sell. I'm starting to branch out with a lot of stuff. I'm doing custom shirts and like colors to like help match people's hoods, so you can get
Hmm.
one like in your hood colors. Acid Pup is a brand that kind of like it bleeds color, and it has that like when I see like acid based artwork, it's always very vibrant. It's always like drip. It's just like super expressive, and I've always really liked it.
Okay.
I'm gonna start doing like shirts with people's maybe the names on the back of it, so you can get like one of your colors with like your name on the back, or maybe your handle. I want to do like tops and bottoms, hoodies or shorts.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of stuff actually I can do with the equipment that I just got, but slowly I'll start releasing some stuff. It just comes down to how many hours in the day I've got to draw things and
Oh, yeah.
press things, all that kinds of stuff.
Well, we may have to talk more offline on that because I definitely would love to have some stuff more tied to my pup name. I mean, I buy the generic t-shirts, the Puppy Pride, and I've got a tank top that I just got that says "It was me. I let the dogs out." And I'm actually going to Galveston Pup next weekend, and that's why I'm trying to collect all these shirts to take with me. So,
Oh, nice. Yeah, I can do like the on-demand stuff, so it doesn't usually take too long. Like I said, I'm trying to like come up with new ideas for like something sporty with like maybe some like numbers with like a pup logo and then like
uh-huh.
a pup name and like block letters on the back or something, just for
Oh,
like different
nice.
vibes.
Okay.
Or like I could even do requests. I'm an artist usually, so I can come up with some things, and as long as like we can come to an agreement on whatever somebody might want, I can usually probably make it. So I like
Okay.
being open to things, and I really like that bringing like color and matching things better with your hoods is something that I've always kind of wanted myself. Like there's like the generic shirts and stuff, but they're usually just in the pup flag colors.
Yeah.
And those don't like usually go with anything I have. So I was like, I want pup merch. That's something I would want, which is very colorful, has a really cool logo, slightly customizable, and like a shit ton of colors. So I can just like
Yeah.
do neons, fluorescents, anything. Like I really love like color
Well,
is my favorite thing.
well, yeah, I mean, I like my colors to match, and that's I went started messing around yesterday when I had some free time, and I was looking at all the different colors on here, and I said, "Oh, you know what? I got rings every single color on my hood, so I might just take all these colors and just mash them all up together in a chain, and then that matches my hood." So,
That's be a really cool idea, yeah.
well, tell me, what about events going on in the Detroit area for pups? What do you got going on?
We've got a few moshes here or there. There's the Great Lakes Kennel Club that is the like main organizer for some of the moshes. I haven't been able to get to one yet. They had one a couple weeks ago, but I had to do a lot of work on that weekend, so I wasn't able to go. There is an outdoor one, I think, coming up at the end of this month or next month. I would suggest looking into the Great Lakes Kennel Club Facebook
Okay.
if Michigan was possibly looking to join for anything. But they're the main hosts for any kind of pup events other than the traditional spots like the Eagle or
Hmm.
any bars that may be pup friendly. Liberty Bar in Pontiac is usually the unofficial home for the pup as far as bars go.
Okay.
But there are some roaming events at like private locations, so we can have food and moshes and board games and other stuff. So there's some stuff going on. It's not like there's not really much nightlife, so to speak, as far as like events like you see in other places like New York or Chicago or
Oh, sure.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm really jealous of Arizona. That Bark After Dark party looks like a lot of fun,
Oh,
but
it
we don't.
does. Yes.
So maybe one day we'll get something like that up here, but we've got a lot of like community events for just like usually like safe play, things like that, moshing and
Hmm.
just hanging out, which is always really cool.
Okay. All right. Well, I always like to find out also if you could meet anyone, past or present, public figure, which is celebrities, musicians, politicians, whatever it might be, who would you want to meet?
So I'm gonna go off left field here. Another one of my passions is professional wrestling.
Oh, nice.
Yes. And I love talking stories about things like that. And my favorite person, if I was going to just talk to them about professional wrestling, would be Jim Cornette.
Okay.
He's an old manager from the southern days back in the 80s and 90s. But he's got a lot of like good stories about people who were like coming up in the business, things like that, like going through like WCW and a lot of other territory days and that kind of stuff I could listen to all day. So that's the person I'd probably pick is Jim Cornette or someone from wrestling, things like that.
Okay. Awesome. Well, this kind of brings us to the end. What would any last words that you have for us?
Like I said, just don't rush into things. Buy carefully and get a plan together for what you want to spend your money on so that you know you have a goal. So you don't overspend because it's really easy to blow a lot of money getting into the pup world.
Oh, yes.
So just be careful. Don't rush. You'll find your identity when it comes to you, especially when it comes to your name. Don't rush to a name. Don't rush your colors. Really dig deep as to what is inside of you. And then when you finally find it, your headspace will almost click instantly because it'll be you. You just put yourself on and you really don't have to take too much time.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, it was a pleasure to get to talk to you, and I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk.
Very much so. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, Jim. All right, last thing I have is I just want to go ahead and get your social media that you want to share.
Well, I've got a couple different avenues you can go. Pretty much on everything. I'm Pup Retrow, Pupretrow. It's like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit. Like the name was pretty much unclaimed on any platform. So if you type it in, I'm probably there. Other things, make sure you're of age to go on, but I've got a lot of names. Like they're pretty much even across everything's going to be Pup Retrow. If you want to check out my merch, it's Acid Pup Clothing on Instagram or acidpupclothing.store.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you again, and we'll be talking soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on.